welcome back to Metanoia Chat Room. I always like that sound. So maybe one of the effects people could add that.
Yeah, we'll ask you about
But anyways, welcome back, guys. I haven't been here in the last episode. But you know what? It's something that I've missed, I must say. Or does that sound like I'm
Sounds
I'm capping? But anyways, welcome back again. I am your host for this episode, Riches, and here is my other co-host.
Hi, my name is EJ. You can call me EJ for short.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, so today, in this month of, did you see last episode? I like it. We were
Actually,
out camping.
I didn't get to hear it
Oh
yet.
yeah, you weren't there.
Yeah,
'cause
I
you
wasn't
were,
there, yeah.
Should we,
No,
should
we
tell them
we were
the,
here
The news.
camping.
Oh, okay.
Should we tell
Anyways,
them the news? That's why you weren't there.
sorry, there's some side comments going on here.
Oh yeah.
You have to wait till we
Sorry,
introduce
it's
you.
another producer. But yeah, last episode, if you've seen it, it's about youth camp, right? Just a recap, and also by the time this episode comes, it's probably like 2 weeks before the camp, right?
Ooh,
Are you excited?
exciting.
I am excited. So for today, we're gonna be talking about Why are you laughing, guys? Come on, it's a serious topic.
All right, go on.
Talking about calling, right?
Woo!
Calling, woo!
Calling.
Specifically, God's calling.
Right.
Specifically, I know in the Bible, there's different, I guess, types of calling.
Right.
There's one where, like Abraham called by a name, right? His name changed to Abraham to Abraham, you know, and which means something else, the father of many nations. There's another calling where we are called to worship, right? We are called as God's people, as God's children, called to worship.
Right.
And then this calling specifically, though, I personally wanted to talk about today, which is a call to vocation, meaning not vacation, right?
Vocation. Spell?
Vocation. All right. So meaning that we're called to do something or to be in a position of or
Right.
in, right? Whether it be in the church, which is ministry, or whether it be outside the church, which is, I don't know, career or
Out in the world.
a task or a role that God called you to do or to be, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what we're gonna be talking about today, and you wanna
A better, person or people to be talking about this topic is none other than, the people that we got over here sitting in the couch. So yeah, can you just introduce yourselves?
By the way, they really wanted to be here. Like they
Really
really
wanted to be.
They're very excited to
Yep.
be here. Like
We volunteered.
They were not our last choice.
no. They were
All
planned
right.
from the very
So
beginning.
please introduce yourselves. Guest number 1.
I like your smile.
Shut up. Well, my name is Mark, or people call me MJ, and I'm I'm his shadow, okay, EJ's shadow, and I'm one of the guys who,
Why are you shaking your?
we produce.
You're the producers.
Yeah, producer.
Yes.
And yeah, we just make the topic, and that's it. Yeah. I
Well,
also
they
play
do
bass.
more than that. Don't downgrade yourself.
alright,
Come
alright.
on.
He's just very humble. He learned from Pastor Mark's preaching today
Ah,
about humility. But yeah, he's the real deal.
Yes. Wow. Okay. Anyways, our next guest.
Hi guys, my name is Maery.
Woo! I like how we didn't cheer for. Sorry, MJ. But anyways,
It's okay.
Mary.
I do quite a lot of things here in church.
Yeah.
It's okay.
She's
I
an
can't
all around.
I got
List
name.
them all.
I'm just all over the place. But one thing that I kind of focus on lately is, if you watched the last episode, it's about camp, right? So I'm doing some things for the camp, the youth camp. So that's what I've been focusing lately. But I'm also singing.
What are you doing there in the camp, by the way, so that they know?
We're doing fundraising.
Yes.
So
Ooh,
yeah.
Yes.
They're in charge of the
Actually, both of us.
Yeah.
the yummy,
are in
delicious,
charge.
Yeah,
So
The yummy foods.
the yummy
Yes.
foods, yummy snacks.
yeah. So if you have money, go buy.
And also, they didn't mention, but they are youth leaders, part
Yes.
of Metanoia. So, yeah, that's something that
Very important.
they're called to. So, yeah. All
I'm not
right. Thanks, guys, for being here. You know, it's always exciting to have new guests, especially the people that are behind the scenes, usually being in front of the scene. So, Mijay, thank you for
EJ
being
really
here.
like. He told me he's very
Yes,
excited to be here.
one time?
so-
One
It's a
time.
one-time thing.
Is this your first and last? No,
Yeah,
I
yes,
think
yes.
not. But, anyways,
yeah.
so let's get down to business.
Get down to business.
To the big topic
Uh,
of
I think
calling.
with calling, I feel like it's something that that gets thrown around a lot. Like it's a
True.
term that's it's usually thrown around a lot, especially when it comes to either moving to a place or like moving houses somewhere, in Toronto, or I don't know, or sometimes
God's calling me here.
calling
God's
me here, right?
there,
Calling me there, or like
to yonder.
sometimes relationship, like God's just calling me to ask you out.
All
I don't know
right.
about that
That's
one,
range,
but-
no.
That one,
I don't know
but-
about that one. I heard that before, but
I don't think-
And
anyway.
then it'd be like, oh, God's calling me to take this career or this program or do this
Yeah.
in school or specifically in ministry. Or God's calling me to join the music ministry to produce podcasts for young people when it comes to topics that are not, that are needed to be talked about. There's a lot of, I guess, misconceptions. There's a lot of, what do you call this? There's a lot of
Misunderstandings
misunderstanding. There you go about God's
about that
calling. What it
whole
really-
concept.
Yeah, what is it really? Like
Yeah.
like I said a while ago, there's I guess different types of calling when
Yeah.
it comes to if you look at the Bible, there's different types, and like I said, we're going to be focusing on one type for today.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this, there's even just one type. There's still a lot of different descriptions. Like
Yeah.
it's described differently when I don't know.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what we're trying to
Unpack for today.
unpack for
Yeah.
today. Yes.
So, I guess we could start with like, what is God's calling to each of us?
Yeah.
I feel like it's it's good to kind of unpack that personally.
Mhm.
Like, what is God's calling to you, Mijay? To
How about-
Mijay.
How about let's do this? Because like when we were new young people, like new Christians, there's this certain way of back then we don't really know. What it
Yeah,
means.
that's true.
Yeah, so you can start with that, and then what you know now,
Yeah.
What's
Like
para?
speaking
Sorry.
in hindsight, like
Yeah, hindsight.
before you didn't know what God calling is, but I believe that now you might have a better idea
Better
of what
understanding.
God's calling is
Yep.
to you.
Mhm.
So yeah, Mijay, take it away.
Take us away.
I mean, before, every time I hear about God's calling, it's like I just keep thinking about those people in the Bible, that, like where God literally
Called
spoke
them.
to
Yeah,
them
yeah, yeah.
Right.
Sure.
in person, and I'm like, I don't even know what that's like, and like
Do you want to experience that? God calling you, like literally, like me,
I'm-
Jay,
Mijay, in your
deep voice,
sleep.
yeah, in a deep voice.
Mijay.
That's not how it
Yeah,
works.
that's how, like before, that's like the expectation. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
the right word for it, but
Yeah.
like that's how I thought of it when it comes to God's calling. Like, oh, it has to be something obvious that like it came from God because
Mhm.
He talked to you directly,
Yeah.
and that's like that's how I always imagined it. But now, like for now, like right now for me, it's just like it's simple. It's God's calling from the phrase itself. It's God's calling, meaning it's from God, and
Mhm.
like you don't have any control over that, and like
True.
yeah, it's God's work. So like if He called you to do something, or like if He wanted to work through you on something, then you will be at the place where He can work through you.
Sure.
And yeah, like if He wants you to be at a certain place, then you will be there also.
Yeah.
Because
And-
like, if you think of it, I know not many of us know Mijay like the way that we know Mijay, but Mijay was not the person that he was like just 5 years ago.
Yeah.
There was no way that
way.
he would have seen himself where he is right now.
Right there.
Right here, like
No.
that's crazy. And so I feel like that's a part of God calling
Him.
you into like leadership, as as you grow in your faith. So yeah, that's great.
Mhm.
What about you, Mary?
I think for me, similar to what Mijay said, like I feel like, no, my past description of God's calling. I feel like it needs to be like some type of physical, tangible item, or
Mm.
even like a sound or whatever, something that you can feel in your sense.
Maery, like that.
Yeah, that's how I think of it, or that's how I
Like
thought
that.
it was before. And also, I associate it with, like career.
Mm.
Like when God calls you, it has to be like, it has to be like your career or something, and it needs to be in the church. That's how I thought of it before, and I think that's also one of the misconceptions. I'm not gonna go
Yeah.
into there yet,
Mm.
but right now, my definition of calling is just it is an impression of God to you to do something, and it's the purpose of why we live for. And for me, the end point of that calling is basically towards salvation and towards unison with God.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because once we say yes to that calling, basically we're obeying God, and therefore we become in unison with God.
True. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's so true that many people have this misconception that your calling is very associated with your career. I mean, it can be related to your career, but that's not like its main like point, like essence of what God's calling is, because I feel like it is greater than that, right? So,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, what about you?
For me, when I was I used to be the one, like I used to be a Christian who always say now, when did you how long have you been Christian? And I usually answer since birth. But then I realized it's the wrong answer because I didn't really accept Jesus Christ when I was inside the womb, right? So it has to be a conscious acceptance of Christ as your Lord and Savior. So in the same way, back then when I was a young Christian, I thought when it comes to God's calling, it's literally like what Mary said, like it has to be a direction that like I pray for like signs and wonders, like that. It's like I need to see God, where do you want me to go, or what do you want me to do? I need to see like a point where there's a literal arrow, literal like that, which it's a common misconception because the thing with God and in in a Christian life, when it comes calling is different. When you mention calling in the world, it's different. It's literally this, right? But for Christian,
It's literally like calling
like
on
calling,
your phone.
like call me, right? By the way, it's my phone. No, I'm joking.
Anyways.
Anyway, but
Alright.
in our Christian journey, calling means a direction. It means a destination, right? Or a person that you, I guess, you have to be either wherever God calls you to be, and whoever He calls you to be, right? So, yeah. Right now, when it comes to calling, for me, I'm in a point where it doesn't matter what I do as long as I follow that one calling, which is to serve God. Like,
Yeah.
like all the decisions, all the actions I take has to point towards that goal or towards that calling, which is to serve God.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Amen.
mean, like, cause again, there's a lot of us that really, cause God's calling is sometimes it's such a complicated like concept
Yeah.
to understand, especially if you don't, really, know God,
Mm.
right? But God's calling, how I think of it is that this is one of the misconceptions, okay?
Yeah.
That God's calling has a lot to do with what you're doing.
Yep.
Like, oh, God's calling me to be a singer. God's
Yeah.
calling me to be part of the welcome team or whatever it is, right?
Podcast.
But if you really think about it, God could care less of what you're doing
Mm.
because he's much more intent or focused on who you're becoming
Mhm.
as a person.
Yeah.
Because I feel like your character is much more important than what you're actually doing.
Amen.
And that's what God often tries to kind of create. If you look in the Bible, like oftentimes God will always call people in the Bible to do something, but as they're doing that task or whatever need that they have to accomplish, God was always worried about their character, how their character is being transformed.
Right.
And I feel like that's what God's calling is most related to. Like,
Yeah.
who are you becoming as you do that task,
That's true.
right? Because you can be a singer, but like there should be a difference of, oh, this is God's kid, this is
Mhm.
God's child,
Yeah.
versus just Adele or something, right? So like never mind. I'm fine. Yeah, so like God is always concerned with who we're becoming first,
Yeah.
more than what we're doing.
Yeah, I like to mention that because when we started this podcast, literally when we just started, God reminded me about the disciples, where when it comes to calling on a literal sense, when you're being called, like I'm calling you, for example, I call Divine, right? Shout out Divine.
Shout out to Vaughn.
Right? Usually when when someone's calling you, usually you're doing something else. Or
Yeah,
your
true.
attention is on to something else.
Ah.
Yeah, like
and
Peter and
Yeah, they were like tending they were the fishermen,
fishes.
right?
Yeah.
They were literally doing something else
Yeah.
when Jesus called them, not to do something else, but to be disciples.
Yeah.
Right? It's like what you said like we said, no, what's na? Like what you said, that they were that we are supposed to be a person that we're becoming.
Yeah.
Right? In the same way, the disciples literally. None of them were disciples in the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
All of them are doing something else.
Yeah.
And then they're called to be disciples.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something what God which I just had like mind blown
Right now.
because that speaks to me that it's not what we do, right?
Yeah.
It's not what we do. We are God's children, and we are supposed to serve our Father, and
Yeah.
doesn't matter what we do.
Because that's like one of the biggest misconception. I don't know if you guys would agree. Like it
yeah,
always.
you can disagree.
Yeah,
It-
you
it's
can
fine.
disagree,
It's
but
fine.
if you disagree, then
Disagree, then
Too
we're gonna
bad.
stop this.
we'll take it outside, square up outside. Joking, but yeah, that's one of the biggest conception, that you always think that God's calling has to do with what you want to do,
Yeah.
right? But it's more than just that. But I don't know if you guys have any other misconceptions.
Uh,
We're on that now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
what do you
also
think?
there's also the fact that since it's just what she said earlier, we treat it like it's our career sometimes, and I feel like that's mainly because we often, when it comes to God's calling, we think of it as we only have we're called to do one thing.
Yeah, exactly.
We have this one main thing that we are meant to do,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's the only thing that we need to do for the rest of our lives. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's a misconception, because God will use you anywhere, and you're not bounded by one thing or by what you are doing right now. And that's why when I was in grade 11, that's the time where you need to think about your careers and
That's true.
everything, and I got
Right.
stuck because I kept thinking about God's calling, and what if this career is not what God called me to do, or
Yeah. it's usually the what ifs.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not church related, or
Wow, did you want to be a pastor or something?
not like
Pastor
That's
BJ.
it's hard to
Pastor Mark.
decide on your career thinking about God's calling with that mindset that you're called to do one thing,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
now you have to plan it. You feel like you have to plan it out. You have to find out what God's calling is specifically in your career,
Yeah.
and then you hesitate a lot with your decisions. And
Yeah.
I feel like because of that, a lot of us end up being more fixated on what the calling is rather than the one who's calling us.
Exactly.
And we
Wow.
get so fixated on we chase after the calling, and
that's true.
we forget the
Like-
person who literally called us to do
Exactly.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that. By the way, Pastor Mijay.
Right.
Pastor
Pastor
Mark.
Mark.
The next-
Mark, wow.
The next Pastor Mark.
No, cause it's so true. Like we get so fixated on the career part of whatever you think that's what God's calling you into, when really that's not all what it is. That's why sometimes I don't like that term. Oh, God's calling me to this career,
Yeah.
because no matter what you do, God can still be calling you to be the light of the world, the salt and
Yeah.
light, doing whatever it is, doing the most mundane thing in
Yeah.
life, and he's still calling you to be that salt and light,
Yeah.
right?
And this is coming from us oh, where's the camera? I'm looking there. Camera where we
I've been
graduate.
here.
We graduated in Bible school.
Yeah.
And this is coming from us. You don't have to
Yeah,
you know
like
graduate in to be used by God.
exactly. Like don't I don't know, like it's a misconception to just put God's calling in such a box.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
like God can like do so much more in whatever that you're doing,
Mhm.
right? So, yeah, I think Mary had a comment.
What do you think?
I was just gonna add to what he was saying. Like I mentioned earlier, I said that some people, when they think about calling, it needs to be like in the physical church. I need to be,
Mhm.
I need to be working the church,
Yeah.
right? But Jesus called us to be the church not just on Sunday, but
Mm.
also in everyday lives, right? So we need to be the church outside too.
Yep.
So what I'm getting into that is if we all work, or if we are just thinking that we need to be in the church all the time, what happens to those people outside who needs God? Because those people, they need, they need to hear Jesus too. They need to
Yeah.
hear about salvation. And if we don't go out, what's going to happen to them? Who's going to share the words to them, right?
That's true.
And that's like one of the biggest, actually our biggest commandment, right?
Mhm.
To go outside and
Yeah,
share
exactly.
Jesus to the
Yeah.
world. So,
Yeah.
but if we all like stay here, what's gonna happen to them, right?
Exactly.
So,
That's why I'm so proud of, like, I mean, they don't even know us, but Maverick City, like Music
Woo!
City,
Oh, Maverick
like,
City. Yeah, my friends. in
the
I
the
went there.
circles that they invade, like the Grammys, the BET Awards, the many
Yeah, awards.
like secular events that often Christians would try to divide themselves or like stay away from because it's
Yeah.
too worldly. Like, I love it when Christians invade those type of places and
Yeah.
spaces because they're getting to represent who Christ is.
Yeah.
And that's what we're literally called to do, like
Yeah.
represent who he is, show the world who Jesus is.
Yeah.
And like, for example, even I don't know, Steph Curry,
Mm.
he's a Christian too, right? Like,
he
and you can like tell like that he's a Christian through his character, like his humility, his humbleness as he plays. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, you don't have to be in Bible
Yeah,
school to
like-
just, you know, to be used by God, quote unquote.
Also reminded Manny Pacquiao,
Sorry.
I said that.
Mary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He's also
yeah, like those things. So
Christian
that's a
and-
good point.
right. What do you have here? Oh wait, what do we have more? You talked about misconceptions
Yeah.
when it comes to misconceptions when it comes to
Sorry,
God's calling. Sorry, we're
behind the
live.
scenes,
We're
someone.
live. What does the Bible say about calling for you? I know you prepared verses. No?
Right.
Do you have verses that will support what the Bible say about calling? Because, like what I said a while ago when it comes to the disciples, like they're called to be disciples,
Yeah.
right? And you can read it in, I don't know, the first 4 Gospels of the New Testament. The stories are there.
Mhm.
Mijay, what do you think? What can you add into that?
I mean, I search up like when you ask that, like what does the Bible say? I'm like, okay, and I ended up with there were many verses, of course,
A lot,
about
yeah.
God's calling, and there was one particular verse that stuck to me, which was Romans 11:29.
Mm-hmm.
It says, wait, let me just
Yeah,
so I could quote it word by
Yeah.
word.
you memorized
Yeah.
it. I got you.
For God's gift and His call can never be withdrawn, and that's like, and it's so nice because it lets you know that it's not you who decides where like where God wants you to to call you. Like, you have no influence over God's calling, and
That's true.
like oftentimes because we like to take control of things. We like
Yeah.
to
True.
plan out where things should be, where
Yeah.
we should be, and like there's even a verse in the Bible that says like I don't know if I can quote this word by word, but essentially it says man will make plans,
Yeah.
but
The
it's
Lord.
God who determines
The
your
steps.
The
steps.
steps, yeah.
And yeah, like you have no influence over where God wants you to be called. And so,
Yeah.
like what I said earlier, it's not about finding what your calling is, or like finding the specifics so that you can plan your life to follow that calling.
True.
It's more on how you respond
Yeah.
when God calls you.
Why aren't you a guest here more often? 'Cause,
And you're nervous?
You have good points. Like
Mhm.
when you were talking about like, because that's one of the, I know that we've moved on from that other
Yeah.
question of misconceptions, but one of the misconceptions is that you know your calling when you don't, because it's God's that's calling you. Like
Yeah.
you do not know when God is calling you. For example, I would have never known that I would be a pastor's wife.
Oh yeah.
Me and Mark always talk about this all the time. And he always tells me, he's like, every time, there's a lot of BS, bad situations in life regarding church. Like he's like, do you think I chose to be a pastor? Like, do you think I chose this life to be
Yeah.
stressed every weekend when
Yeah.
I could be earning like dollars upon dollars, right?
Yeah.
But like because he's called into this I guess calling as a pastor, he steps into it in faith.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
oftentimes that's God's calling when you need to step there in faith.
Yeah, it's usually
Yeah.
not opposite, but it's usually something that it reminds me of Abraham again, where he was called to be a father of many nations, but then he didn't have a son,
Yes.
right? And then he was given a son, and then he was called to sacrifice the son,
Yeah.
same son,
Yeah.
right? So it's usually not. I don't want to say against or the opposite, but it's usually on that. It's
Yeah.
usually on that spectrum where you don't expect to be there. You
Like
don't
sometimes
expect.
it doesn't make sense to you because you, like, for example, Moses, he always looked at all the disqualifications that he had
Yes.
to qualify himself as a leader of
Yeah.
Israel,
He
right?
cannot talk. He cannot
Yeah,
like
he
Yeah,
was a
he was
stutterer,
slow
to
right?
speak.
And so like that's such a good point when you said that we like to take control of things
Yeah.
so that we're certain.
Yeah.
But then with God's calling, you're called when you have to step out in faith.
Yep.
When
Yeah.
you don't, when it just doesn't make sense,
Like,
but you're
what?
like,
Like,
God,
why?
all right.
Why?
Like,
Yeah.
why? Sure, God, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
What about you, Mary?
Hey, Mary.
I think you guys touched upon it a little bit earlier, but it's basically when you think of those major, I call them major stories, like Moses, Abraham,
Yeah.
Noah. I realized that the calling is not something. No, it's not something that you get into, but it's something who you become. That's what you said earlier,
Yeah.
Mhm,
right?
Yeah.
Talk about Moses. Moses was exiled.
Yeah.
Yes.
Moses was he a stutter? Like he had
Yeah,
like
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was,
yeah.
It's
Talking
hard time.
problems,
Like
to
his
talk.
brother had to be
Yeah,
his
and he was-
spokesperson.
I believe he was alcoholic or something.
I don't
That
know
was
about that.
No,
Noah.
it was someone. All right,
That was
someone
Noah.
else. Noah.
I think.
Okay.
That's
Noah.
Noah. Yeah,
Noah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I heard about that one. Yeah.
See, they had those things, and even like those qualities. It makes you question, like, are they even qualified to
Yeah.
be called? And if you've been around at the Kate for a while, she
Kate,
always
shout
say this.
She's an alcoholic. What? I'm joking. Big revelation. We're joking.
no, ate.
Shit. All right.
Joking.
Sorry about it.
We love you at the gate.
Life of the party, remember?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So-
She's life of the party.
But anyways, if
Call me off guard. All right, go me.
if
Sorry,
you
Mary. My bad.
anyways, so if you've been around at the Kate for a while, I'm in her small group, so I know her.
Yeah.
She always say this, like, God doesn't call the qualified; He calls the qualified. And I think, for us, it applies to us too.
Wait, you say that again?
God,
I think God doesn't call the qualified, but
Qualified.
God
Qualifies the
qualifies.
called.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
so I
called.
could-
There you go.
I couldn't in my being.
I was loading.
Okay.
Moses was called to save, Egypt, right, at that
Yeah.
time. And if
Yeah.
and if Moses paid attention to, what he had, this qualification he had,
Yeah.
he wouldn't been able to go and go stand against Pharaoh, right?
True.
Talk about Jesus too. Jesus was called to basically die. If Jesus didn't do that, we would not be here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And basically what I'm trying to say is that when you walk with God, you realize that your character changes.
For sure.
And again, like Ate said, he qualifies you to be who he called you to be.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
there's that transformation once you step into that calling.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like when you walk it, that's when you like begin to like realize like God is like doing something in me. Like this is not me. Like the patience that you start having with people, usually you wouldn't take any crap.
Yeah, back then, you know.
Yeah, back then. But then now you're just like, wow, God, I'm so much more patient.
Where's this patience coming from?
Where's
I'm not
this
sure about
gentleness
that.
coming from? Self-control. Wow, God.
Wow, yeah.
Right? So, yeah,
it's amazing. It's amazing.
because like also your calling bears fruit, and that's one of the things that you should like. We should be seeing when you are living a life
Can
of
you
calling.
say it's like it's like the basis of?
Yeah, you
It could be
could,
like the basis.
because
of-
like there has to be some type of change in you.
yeah, there's a fruit.
Right.
Yeah.
Because like it's all talk when you know, oh, you say you're being called by God, and then you don't reflect who God is. Like there's that, you know, inconsistency,
Yeah.
right?
I remember Jazzer saying it back then in our meeting that they're
Wow,
supposed
special
to.
mention.
Shout out Jazzer. I miss you.
Jazzer. Been a while.
We're supposed to be exposed. Like.
Whoa, what do you
Well,
mean?
He said I said it in a funny way, but it makes sense because like those fruits has to be exposed. Like it has to be. They have to be with like people should see it, experience it. They're not supposed to be hidden, or because if they're hidden, then they're not really fruits, right?
Yeah,
they're supposed
exactly.
to affect not just yourself but also other people around you.
Yeah,
So.
because just to, I guess, bandwagon on that. I don't know if that's the word. But like God's calling is usually, I'm pretty sure you guys research what God's calling is. So you might have read about this. But God's calling refers oftentimes to God bringing people to Christ so that he could use those people to be a part of the redemptive work of God.
Yes.
Right? Because that's what it is, to lead us to salvation, to lead more people to salvation.
Yeah.
Right? So, where was I going with that? I forgot. Anyways.
I mean, well, what I'm thinking that you're getting at is like we're doing a lot of things, right? We do ministry, we do this, you know. We do a lot of minute details.
Wow, minute.
I just learned it
Spell
today.
that. Spell that, please.
Minute, but yeah, we do a lot of details and we focus on a lot of. Of course we try to give God the excellent ministry that we can give, the offering, sacrifice that we do. But on the grand scheme of things, another big word, grand scheme of things, you know, it's all under that blanket of we wanna, you know, like what you were saying a while ago, that the redemptive work, right? To bring people back to Christ, to bring souls back to Him, to let it be known to the world who God is, who Jesus is, what He did for everyone, right? So we might be doing this, we might be doing that, we might be doing podcasts, but it has to, you know, that
The ultimate goal
is that. You know,
the redemptive. Okay, now I
bring it back?
remember.
Yeah,
Thank
there
you.
go.
Thank
You're
you. It's
welcome.
coming back to
You're
me.
welcome.
Because like just to retrack a little bit, we were talking about like careers and how that kind of relates to calling and stuff. That's why I'm saying like your career, whatever you're doing, God is always using that somehow, one way or another, to bring redemption to the people that you get to work with, if you know what I'm saying, right? Like to, I don't know, maybe if you're a nurse, the patients that you get to interact with, how are you bringing them back to Christ? I don't know. You don't necessarily have to be always talking about like, or evangelizing, but sometimes like the way that you treat them.
Yeah.
Like in kindness, there's something different from us. That's why we're meant to be called this called salt and light.
Yeah.
Right, to make that difference.
Yeah.
You know, to be that seasoning in the world. You know,
Edit salt.
I don't think they're gonna do that. Anyways, anyways, you so sorry.
It's okay.
But how did you guys respond to your own calling?
Yeah.
Like, how did that happen?
Well, like for me, as you know, like it was never about like God directly speaking to me. There was like, it's not like it was something I saw in my dreams and all
Yeah.
that. So
Joseph the dreamer. Mijay
Yeah.
the dreamer.
I just like, cause I just simply follow God, and like I guess my response was more like me being available.
Wow.
That was
I
yeah.
can relate to that. Yeah.
He's not wrong. I always assignment based. He always says.
Yeah. I can relate heavily to that.
Yeah.
You want to add more to that, or is that?
Yeah, cause like uh let's see. Sorry. Cause like I said earlier, you don't really have any control over where you will be in the future, and so
Mhm.
like your response to God should be your availability, cause like if you chase after God, like it says in Matthew 6:33, like seek God first, and the rest will follow.
Mhm.
Like if you just uh follow God, and if you just avail yourself to Him, then
Yeah.
like where you are right now is where He called you to be, and like
True.
where you will be in the future is where
Yeah.
you needed to be. Then
This is the
That's
dream.
good. That's why. Thank you for being available, Mijay.
Thank
And-
you. I think we should.
Yeah. Now that he talked about availability,
It's on
I
record
think
too. It's on record.
I think once in a while we'll have Mijay back,
Yeah,
right?
that's
So
true.
this is not his first and last.
That's true.
set myself up for
You did.
Availability. All right.
That's good. That's good.
How about Mary? What do you think?
When I feel like when God called me, there's like a strong conviction.
True.
Yeah. So if I don't do something that God like calls me to do, it will follow me wherever, like whatever I do, wherever I go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's also like related to the verse he said earlier, that it's not irreversible, or it's not like, it has to be, you have to do it because it's something that God called you to do, right? So by just simply surrendering and obeying God,
Mhm.
that's what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
there are
relate to that though. I relate to this.
Yeah, I relate
Yeah.
to Mijay.
Yeah. To what you say.
Don't worry, I got you.
Do you have any more to add on that?
But anyways, like simply trusting, God wherever He leads you to is technically what all you can do, because no matter where you go, it's gonna follow you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
no, even if you go to, to other country, it's gonna follow you. Talk about Jonah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it always follows you.
Yeah.
The
True.
fish. Jonah and the
It followed him
guppy.
inside the fish. So
The
you
big
know,
guppy.
EJ and the
big
fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I relate to that because what you said in the first thing you said about when God calls you to be or to do something, it's gonna follow you. It doesn't matter where you go or when Jonah did. I just realized I had a Jonah experience with me because I grew up in church. Just 2 minutes. I grew up in church and I was serving. Well, not serving. I wasn't in ministry, but I attend Sunday school like every Sunday. But then when I became a teenager, I went to places, right? To wilderness and
Mind
then
sharing? Your wilderness. Oh, okay. no.
yeah, like the black nails and
Oh, the black
eyeliners.
eyeliners.
Oh my
I
gosh.
really
So-
want that
So,
era to come back.
no, what?
Maybe not.
So
No.
so like when I stopped going to church and and mind you that time I was in ministry when I started drifting away, and then eventually God called me back. And that's why I have this I don't want to call PTSD, but with someone grabs me from the back, especially on
Yeah.
the left side, because I had an experience where someone did that, was gonna stab me. That's why that's kind of a trigger to me now. But after that, I'm like, I got saved. I didn't get any stab or anything.
Yeah.
But this is at that moment, literally like my life flashed, like my whole life flashed back. Like
Yeah.
what do you call that? Like all the memories
Yeah.
and then
Your life flashed before your
before
eyes.
my eyes, yeah. And all I'm saying, like, God is, I just hear a voice saying, go back. That's it. I can't describe the voice, but it's just in me and I saying, go back. And then I went back to church after that, and I never left since. Cause I don't want to like, EJ. Like I never want to leave after. So, yeah, that's why I relate to what you said a while ago.
Yeah.
Um,
And
yeah,
I
so-
relate with Mijay because I think like Mark mentioned this before in one of his preachings, like how my best gift is not really like a specific talent that I have. But my best gift is being available, because whenever I made myself available, God just led me through doors that I couldn't like imagine myself being used in. And so I guess this is where I am right now because of my availability. And I feel like sometimes availability will always trump talent or skill.
I agree.
Because without the availability of that gift being used, like,
then what's the point?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like that person that dig that hole and then
And hid it there.
hid his talent or gift.
That's true.
So that's why I relate so much with Mijay being available.
Availability is a superpower.
Yeah.
It's really important.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Be available, people.
exactly. So I guess that's our time to also meet another one of our
Oh, our
Guests.
guest.
Yes.
Wait, is she there?
This guy's lost a little
Why
bit.
are you pointing
Oh
there?
no, they're not coming up from the back of
Oh,
the couch.
okay.
No,
All
no,
right.
no.
Yeah.
But this is
Are you
our
sure?
time to go to our
special segment today.
Meet to Know You.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give a little background.
Sure,
to her.
yeah.
She, it's a girl. So we
First
our
time?
guest
So
today.
annoying.
She's one of. I guess she's one of upcoming Metanoia.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, she's been in the church longer than some of us.
Yeah, she was
She's
basically
she was born. She was literally born here in
Yeah.
this church, and we're very excited on where God is gonna bring her, or what
Yeah.
God is gonna make her to be. Right. So without further ado, this is Meet to Know You. Meet to Know You.
Hey guys, welcome back to Meet to Know You, where we get to know you.
Woo.
I'm Nadine.
This is Divine. How have you guys been? I missed last month.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
missed you.
Yeah, camping isn't really for me. Sometimes, it gets really hot. The mosquitoes, No, actually, no. You guys are gonna have fun. It's not supposed to turn you guys. No. I missed it. It was I mean, what
It's
can we
okay.
do? Sometimes in life. Anyways,
Next time, it's okay. You can
next
join
time.
us
There's
next
always next time camping. Anyways, we have a guest as usual for today. Drum roll. We have. Yeah, we got our friend Kirsten over here. You may grab a seat. with us here.
Thank you.
And so Kirsten is gonna join us today. And
Yay.
as she sits down, we are actually going to be playing a game with our friend here, which is called Name 3.
Yes.
I almost forgot what it's called. Name 3. So Name 3. We played it before. I forgot who. It was with Sean, I believe. What is that? So, what? What do you do? Anyway. So Name 3. So basically, we give you a topic and you just name 3 of the things. Are you ready to play with us today?
Yes, I am.
All right. So your first prompt. Name 3 animals that start with the letter L.
L. Okay. Do I have a timer?
No.
Okay.
Well, yeah, 5.
Okay. Lion, leopard,
3,
lizard.
2,
Mm.
nice. Good
Lizard?
job. It's still an animal. Yeah,
That's an animal.
it counts.
Fine. All right. Lizard, fine.
They're people? Oh, okay.
Our producer just said they're people. No comment. We don't want to get political over here. Next, we got name 3 Valorant agents.
Okay.
5,
Of Neon, of
4,
course.
Of course.
Reina
3,
and Brimstone.
2.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
that was fast.
Look at that. As you may know, or may not know, we have a gamer in the house,
Yes.
A little bit.
A little bit, just a little bit. And one last question to play here. Name 3 phone services.
5.
Phone services.
Yeah. Okay, I'll let you load first.
I'm sorry.
I'll
The
give you 2
questions
seconds
was
to
made
think.
by a boomer. He's just trying to relate to like the current times.
Oh, yeah.
Name 3.
Oh,
Hey.
that's what you mean by services. Okay.
No cheating.
Rogers, Bell,
4.
and Fido.
Exactly. There
She
we
got
go.
the answer
We
from someone
apologize
behind
for
the
that
camera.
last
Good job,
question.
Vijay.
We just got don't worry about that. Those questions were made by of course our dear Kuya EJ. What can we do, Anyways, thank you. That is our game.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
now we will try to get to know our friend here. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Kirsten. I'm 17. I'm in high school, going to grade 12.
Do you work? What
Oh,
are you
right.
trying to do?
So I work at Kumon, which is basically like a tutoring place, after school tutoring for younger kids, and I sometimes tutor kids or I either mark their work.
Wow. How
Nice,
old
that's cool.
how old are the kids that you teach?
They're usually about like maybe 5, like the really young kindergarten kind of kids.
Nice.
Oh,
And can you
okay.
teach me? No, just kidding. Anyways, anything else? Any hobbies? What else do you do in life?
I mean, I guess like we said earlier, I mean, I like a Valorant a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I am a one trick only neon.
Oh, neon. Yeah, yeah. If you wanna, do you know your ID?
Not
You
at
gave
the
her-
moment.
Okay. Well, we'll put it on there if you want to add her on a Valorant. But yeah.
All right. And we had one more question. So, what ministries do you do at church?
Well, I'd say I'm in a lot, quite a few. I'm in Miriam. I help out with the streaming. I sing, so I'm in the music ministry. I'm trying to learn the guitar right now as well. Shout out to Queen EJ, my
Ah,
teacher.
Too many shout-outs for this video.
Also, I help out with Sunday school, so that's also like the children's ministry. Does Metanoia count as ministry?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then the Metanoia ministry as well.
Wow.
Yeah, she is everywhere.
Yeah, busy bee.
Mhm.
And then we had one more question for you, which is, so how have you answered God's call in your life?
So I guess my experience in answering God's call in my life would be related to the ministry, like we said. I guess, for example, this Sunday, today, July 10th, I was pretty busy today. I was asked to dance for Miriam, but then I was also asked to host for before the service. And after Miriam, I was also asked to stream. And now I'm also here for
So
She
very
is,
busy.
Quadruple booked
Yeah.
today.
Very dedicated.
Yeah, very
That's
dedicated. And how is that? How do you find your ministries juggling all that?
It was, I was kind of reluctant to want to do all 4 at once, but I thought like this is, like we said, God's calling, and I just need, like, I just have to do it. And I mean, it's good that I do it so I can help out the church, and it's just what I know what God wants me to do. So
All right.
That's
And yeah,
great.
that is great. And for anyone out there who hasn't had a ministry or wants another 3 ministries to their portfolio, you could come talk to any of us and we will get you sorted. All right. And now I think that is it for today. Thank you, Kirsten, for joining us
thank
for
you
this
for
podcast.
having me.
And now we will go back to our regular guys, you know? Yeah, that's it.
Bye.
Bye.
And we're back.
Thanks, Kirsten.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kirsten. Sorry, I just like literally disrupted what you were gonna
It's
say.
okay. I was just saying thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks again, Kirsten, for allowing us to know you a little bit more. And it's always nice to see youngins participate
Yeah.
in our Meet to Know You. So yeah, thanks again.
And I like how what our hosts in Meet to Know You, Divine and Nadine, shout out to the question that they asked to Kirsten the same way. What was your experience when it comes to God's calling here in the church and or outside, like career-wise, or in the church ministry-wise? Like, what's your experience with it and how you responded to it?
Ladies first.
You wanna
I knew you were gonna
you wanna rock paper scissors? Who's gonna go?
Should I
first?
go?
Yeah.
You can go, yeah.
For me, I was called to be a praise moves dancer at a
Okay.
very not young. I was 12 and I just came here. And to me, it was very overwhelming because I don't know anything about church stuff because I was not a Christian.
But you knew how to dance, right?
Not really, no.
Oh.
She could barely dance, bro.
Wow.
If you
Talk
see
about
one
this
of
guy, very
the-
stiff.
See one of the throwbacks?
No, let's not talk about that.
All right.
But anyways,
But she dances well now, though.
Yeah,
so
you're
I
good.
don't know. It doesn't matter where you started.
Don't downplay yourself.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
come on,
but
Mary.
yeah, I was
DJ, strap to job.
Show us a little bit of That's I said her,
Oh,
not
sorry,
you.
sorry.
No, I can't dance right now.
It's
Okay.
okay.
But
We
anyways.
believe you. Go.
And you allow her
Sorry,
to
sorry.
like get one word out.
What was I trying to say? I forgot.
About the
that you
calling.
wait, you said I was about to say that you didn't know how to dance.
Yeah, yeah, that's what you were
Oh
saying.
yeah,
right?
I didn't know how to dance. I was kind of forced
You can say that.
somehow
Yeah.
into the ministry, but like I don't know how it happened, but like last year I became the leader of it.
Wow. Hey.
Yeah,
Praise
I'll
be
blame
to
it to the guy behind over there. Yeah, I was supposed to be leaving, but somehow I became the leader, which is I don't know how to feel somehow.
Donut
And
experience.
and last year too, was it last year? Yeah, beginning last year, I asked God for a prayer to use me, however He wants.
Ooh, that's a scary prayer.
I know, like I don't know why I
you
did that.
know, yeah, that prayer is.
I was
Yeah.
probably too much in my feels, but like
Yeah,
Yeah, but like,
but
It
yeah,
takes a lot of faith to pray that prayer.
that's true. Yeah.
but yeah, here I am now. I'm handling some things.
Praise
Can
be,
you say
yeah.
that it's an answered prayer from that prayer? right now?
Yes, and
It is?
I still feel like it's been like God's still answering it.
Oh, okay.
It's
Great.
like an ongoing thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I responded to the call.
Here
basically
in the church.
here in the church. Outside, I'm not sure. I'm joking.
That's okay. We don't
Outside, well, I have friends. I don't really make
Really?
friends. Shut up.
I was
Yo,
gonna miss
shut
that joke.
I was
I have
waiting
friends.
for one
I
of
have
you to
like
say something.
really small circle of friends. I have like 4 friends or 5 friends outside.
Did I make the cut?
Anyways,
Sorry,
like
sorry.
interruption.
irrelevant.
I'm not gonna guest here anymore next time. I'm telling.
No, Mary
It's
is
my
a
first and last.
good collective.
But anyways,
No,
So
because
you
he
have
said
friends?
anyways.
yeah, I had friends. I have friends, but one way I like respond to the call is basically just sharing my experience here in church, because I don't want to overwhelm them with like
You want it to happen like organically.
yeah,
It's
like
not
theological stuff,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
Not
like
like-
heavy Bible stuff.
Yeah.
I just like say some things like Metanoia. They haven't been coming, so but
Yeah.
it's fine.
It's-
Like
yeah.
I invite them to Metanoia Live, or I invite them with like when we had like Zoom, like small group Zoom before.
Yeah.
I invite them to there, and small things like that, and somehow, it gives or it plants a seed into their lives,
Yeah, for
Yeah.
and
sure.
just let it grow.
I reminded of Pastor Mark's preaching, keeping a low profile. So he said they're simple. Sometimes simple is enough.
Yes.
Like, and as simple as I'm not saying your life is simple, but as simple as
It's not.
sharing your life experiences is enough
Yeah.
to
For
for
sure.
that, in that context at least. Yeah. Are you happy now though? Are you happy right now? Are you happy right now?
I am
She said-
content. There you
You're
go.
content. Oh,
I'm
wow.
content.
Good
Such a
word.
celebrity answer.
I'm
Okay.
content. I'm stressed, but I'm content.
Of course.
There you
yeah.
go.
Stress is fine. It's
Yeah.
it's good stress. Good stress. How about you, Pastor Mark?
You don't say all right.
Pastor Mijay.
Relax. Oh, I mean, I already said it earlier. How I responded was more on me being available, and being a high school had a lot of time.
Were you available when you were high school?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, compared to now in university,
Mm.
like high school feels like you have every time that you need.
Oh,
and
it's
so,
a lot of
like,
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just say something though?
Yeah.
Availability is not having free time.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Make-
You can
Making
be
time.
available even if you
Yeah.
don't have
Yeah.
time.
Exactly. So
It's priorities.
yeah. Anyways.
So yeah. It started with, I think, streaming or
Streaming?
like PowerPoint. That
Oh,
was, like,
the media.
yeah,
ministry.
media was one of
So
my first
would you like
ministries.
to be part of the? I like how I'm recruiting here.
Were you recording
Yeah,
on
we
the
ju-
record?
Yeah, it was your mom who recruited me.
Oh, was
Yeah.
it? Oh.
Oh yeah, she was part of.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Right. Anyway,
not part.
So I started with that, and then
that's
It,
your first
like-
ministry?
yeah.
Oh
and
wow, I
then
didn't know
just
that. Oh.
I kept adding out like.
Why'd you leave?
praise- praise move. KY suggested it to me because
Who?
I had like KY's.
Wise?
Like,
Wise.
no, because like I was in streaming and then praise moves. I was recruited to.
I'll ask you the
Praise
More
same
like
question.
it was forced, I think.
I'll ask you the same
Nah,
question.
I-
Did you
I-
know
No, he
how
was
to,
young.
did you know how to dance
Yo,
before you
Mija
joined?
could
I
Can
took
you
one.
bust some?
break it down a little.
No.
Bust a little nay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, like we need to stop that.
All right, keep going.
You wanna join praise moves?
I think I'm too
We need people.
overqualified for that.
It's too
Alright,
occupied.
relax.
Yeah.
Humble
More like
yourself.
under.
So yeah, streaming and then if I was also part of praise moves
Mhm.
right after.
Yeah.
And then there was the recruitment for like the instruments and everything
Yeah.
where
How
we
did that start?
I don't know, it
remember how you
just-
started in bass.
no, because we had this like recruitment for all instruments
Yeah.
and we made lists like where you want to join.
Oh.
Okay.
I was gonna join drums or something. I didn't even know
You
bass.
should have.
I didn't know bass was
know.
even a thing before.
Oh,
So I was
wow.
like, oh, there's too many people in the drums now. So I put my name on the. Yeah, before.
Oh,
There was like
before.
many learners or something.
Oh, I
So
see.
and like bass was so empty. So I put my name there.
Who was
and-
teaching bass back then?
Wise, and then Mark
Wise the OG, yeah,
Yeah.
and Mark, right.
Mark Benson also taught me, and
Mhm.
so he suggested because I had like 3, so it's hard to schedule with 3 ministries.
Yeah.
So
True,
I
yeah.
suggested
Yeah.
just drop one. And there's a lot of people in streaming then, so
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like it's time to
Go
come
back.
back. Go back. Come back season.
I just want to say a lot of these, well, Mary, Mija, and even Kirsten in the Metanoia, apparently you guys have a lot of ministries that you're doing. It's just,
Yeah.
I salute you all because I'm not really, only doing one. With music.
Well, technically, you're doing
Yeah.
two if you think
is
about
this
it.
a ministry? Oh,
Yeah.
fine, if you consider it, but it's not really. I'm saying there's you got multi-talented people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Keep
That's
keep
great.
doing it. So that's inside the church, right? Are you done with that, or?
Outside is not, because outside is more like I'm just being myself. Like
So you're not being yourself here, is that what you're saying?
no, I mean
You can't be yourself here. Oh, that's kind of sad.
it's not like it's a specific ministry that I do outside the church.
Mm.
Well, it's more like I'm just more transparent like when it comes to my friends. And
Right.
like they know that I go here even in my work. Saturday and Sunday is like a no go for me.
Yeah.
And like
So they know that they
like,
know that you are
they
here.
know they cannot schedule me on those 2 days even
Which
if
is
they
good.
wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
it's
How do
good.
I just want to say, because I've been here too before, where I used to go to church back in the Philippines. I used to go to church, but then when I'm with my friends, like I'm kind of shy to say that I go to church. Like I feel like it's something that some young people experience. Not to point out or not to like like isolate them, but what would you advise them to? Like, what advice would you give them for those people who's having a hard time or being shy or to say that, yeah, I'm a Christian or I go to church and all that, like with friends? Because since you mentioned it, might as well, I don't know.
Advice.
Yeah.
I don't even know how my friends knew that I went.
But
to
did you
I
tell them
don't-
like
I
at
don't
the
think
very
I
beginning?
directly told them.
Yeah.
It's just something that came up, I guess,
Oh. How
as
did
we were saying, or maybe they wanted to hang out, and then I
oh.
mentioned I probably had like.
Well, you're just hanging out doing these things. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I go to church. Okay, let's keep doing this like that.
Eh. Oh wait, there's one time
Oh,
I
see?
invited. I remember. I
Told you.
invited my friend.
Wait, remember them.
Yeah,
Who?
2 of my
remember
friends,
two.
Want to shout him out? Her out?
Don and Paulo.
Oh, Don
Yeah.
and Paulo.
Yeah, you don't know them. You don't know.
Don't even act like.
Yeah, and
Yeah, Don
but
Paulo.
even before then, they already knew, and yeah.
Oh, I see. All right, so that's the advice of me.
No, like I have no
Keep it a low
advice. You
profile.
just- I don't know.
I guess my
Just-
advice would be just say it. Just be who you
Yeah.
are. Not
Yeah.
that you're Christian. You don't
Like-
do things that are against what you really do in church. Or
Don't hesitate to like be transparent with them with
Yeah.
like the fear of losing them, because
yeah,
in the first
Wow.
place, if like
Wow, fear
if,
of
if
losing.
Of losing.
No, like,
you want to talk
if
about
you're-
it?
no, like
No, I think yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Cause like if you hesitate to be who you are in front of them because they might not
Away.
like you anymore,
Mhm.
then
Those were
like in the first place,
those were
you're
the
just
friends for
not.
you.
Yeah, true friends will accept you for who you are.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Wow. A
True
real
friends will-
spoken word.
Yeah, true friends will accept
Yeah.
you for who you are.
I mean, with you,
Are we friends? Anyway, Mijay, that was out, right? That was
Yeah.
outside the church, right?
Yeah.
The
I
question.
don't even know what that question really means.
I think the reason why I picked the question is just I want to see how other people responded to the call when it comes to, because I feel like it's something that we think we went through the same way, but really not. Yeah,
So
it's
like,
different for every person. Some people
Right.
some people just said yes right away and just did it. Some people said yes and then backtracked a little bit and then come back to it. Some people said no entirely and then
yeah.
they just bloop back there. It's kind of, I guess, to show our viewers, our listeners, to hear the yeah to see how it is when with like with people, right, with normal people like us, how we deal with these type of things,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, that's
You're
mine.
not
Do you want to
normal.
share some? You want to say something? Oh, do you want to share something about that, or do you want to add something?
I feel like I've always been really active at church,
Since
like
birth,
ever
or-
since, not since birth. When I came here to Canada and
Mm.
started integrating myself here in PCFC.
You started young, right?
Yeah, very young. Like I used to be in the Miriam ministry, and then I moved up to the. I mean, not saying that it's a promotion to just
No,
go to
no.
music. No, but like when I started joining the worship team, and after that I just got involved with other things. Like
Yeah.
I was always ready to do whatever that needs to be
to
done.
take on the
Yeah, like
task.
so I was very active in church, I would say. And then outside, I mean, I went to Bible school. So like I guess
You
that's
just say
yeah.
that's true. Like I don't know how to answer that one
Yeah,
with me
'cause, like,
too.
Yeah, I went to Bible school, but that's only because like I gave a lot of my time here in church and where my life was like
Heading.
yeah,
Yeah.
the trajectory of my life
Mhm.
was like heading to marrying a pastor. So obviously like
To support, right?
yeah, because like
Yeah.
I wanted to be in the medical. Well, I thought I wanted to be in the medical field. I don't know, but yeah, but I gave that up and pursued something else like Bible school.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a vocation.
Vocation.
You
yeah.
would call that vocation.
That's
so.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, to serve church more better, I guess, to be equipped.
More
that-
better.
Or
yeah.
Betterer.
Better
that's,
is.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. I mean, are you guys content with your answers? What you heard
Wait, you
today?
didn't get to share yours.
Yeah,
For
come
me?
on, man.
I just started music. And then I just stayed in music since. Well, I wanted to do sound, but that's still music. So
Yeah.
I never really thought that I would be talking like this, because I don't.
Me neither.
I don't. Yeah.
Bro, me,
Didn't-
look at
No.
me.
I don't.
Didn't
See,
expect it.
I always say that. Like I have a lot of things in my mind and I have a lot of ideas, but I don't know how to voice them out. Usually I stutter. Usually
Me.
if I say something, it's very simple words and like, what are you saying? But like, in my mind, I have this whole not equation, but this
Equations.
whole paragraph, and then I just say,
Like
yeah,
2 or 3 words.
like yeah, that's it. But in my mind, I'm like, it's, I don't know how to say it out loud, but.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is not really a comfortable place for me as well. Which is sometimes when God calls you to do something,
It's never
it's
out of
never
comfort.
a place where you're comfortable.
Yeah.
Yep.
in. It's usually out of your comfort zone.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
like what you said a while ago, it takes a step of faith
Yeah.
to do that. Yeah, so I don't really have anything much to share. I've been in music ever since I was born in the church. No,
Do you
ever
want to join
since I
Praise
was-
Moves?
praise move. I'll think about it.
Yeah,
I'll pray
you-
about
you,
it.
You can always
I'll pray
ask.
about it
and see what God says.
Shout out to Anthony D.
With that said, with all the we'll talk about calling a ministry. We encourage those people who have been called, or
Yeah.
God's been calling you to a certain ministry, and you don't know what to do, or you don't know how to respond to it,
Yeah.
we encourage you, whatever it is. It doesn't, it could be music. It could be, I know music is usually the first one because we're always seen, we're always
Yeah.
heard. But there's a lot of ministries out there to fill in, right? And without those ministries, the whole church will not function, right? We all function. We're all part of one body, and every part of the body is important to function, for the whole body to function well. So we encourage everyone to, with all the things you've heard from Mary, from EJ, from Cheng, from me, encourage you to, go for it. Just say
Yeah.
yes. Sometimes I know it's okay to ask God, why me? God, why
Yeah.
me? There's other people out there who's
Yeah.
more capable. See this person is more capable. Why me? Out of all people, I've said those exact same words before, and many times actually. But just trust God. Trust Him on when He's where He's going, where He's leading you to. Like Cheng said, it takes a step of faith, and sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah.
Right? You just have to trust God.
So yeah, always pray about it. Like with God's
Yeah.
calling, always pray about it. And yeah, I guess also think about how, in whatever you're about to do or take on, like always think of how is God gonna be using you to do the redemptive work part of whatever task that you're doing, because that is our ultimate goal in how He is calling us, right? So it's more than just beyond ourselves, what we like, or I like singing, so I'm gonna go to worship team, but like go beyond that. But yeah, anything to add? Any last note or comment?
Last note.
Uh,
What, you're actually doing it? No. Anything you
good.
want to say to the people listening, watching?
The end.
Anything
Just
you
do
wanna
it.
Just
do
do
it.
it. There you
Just do
go.
We're not sponsored by Nike, but yeah, just do
Yeah,
it. Just do it.
Buns right there.
All right. Well, I guess that's it.
Have
And
announcement?
just a little more announcements before we cut our episode.
Announcement. So by the time you're watching this, hopefully on the upload, Metanoia Live will. We're gonna have
Yes.
Metanoia.
Yeah.
Metanoia Live next week, next Saturday.
Yeah.
I heard it's gonna be exciting and it's gonna be very interesting, right?
Yeah, it's going to be July 23rd. 23 at 6
23?
p.m. Yeah,
Oh,
23.
So the day of the upload.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoyed the Metanoia Live today.
Really?
Yeah. So also we have prayer meeting every Friday, 7:30. Please come here. We see a lot of young people here actually, so we like to see more of you young people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also we have Connect Week and Connect Group. Connect Group every Connect Week, right?
You get it.
and sometimes we do Connect Week, but sometimes we have Free Week,
Yeah.
which I also call Connects Week, because meaning we're gonna meet next week, right?
Oh
Anyways.
my god.
And then
I
youth
think we should
camp.
end it.
Woo!
Youth camp. We're gonna be
Gonna be
having a youth camp in the
litty.
next. In
Is
2
that what you
weeks.
guys? Is that what you guys say nowadays? Liddy? What do you guys say when
Liddy.
you're
I
I don't
excited?
say that. I don't.
That's
I
so
don't know.
valid.
think
What do you say?
I think we say litty, like fam.
It's valid.
It's
Youth
it's
camp can be
valid.
very valid.
I'll be
Alright.
Is that how you use it?
I'm really
Bussin'.
cheese,
Yo,
bro.
Oh my god.
Anyways,
Yeah.
that's it, guys. Well, thank you again, Mijay and Mary, for joining us.
They really wanted to be here.
Yes,
I like
we
the
did.
Yeah.
We really
enthusiasm.
wanted
I
it.
like the.
Yeah.
the
We had to
very-
pay them to be here.
Again, it was God's calling for them to.
And they answered yes.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yep.
Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed our episode for today about calling. So see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, chit chatter.